Welcome to Salvage, a podcast for conversations with artists about the repurposed materials they use in their art practice. Please enjoy my conversation with Jackie Wolf-Schmidt. Jackie is a found material fashion designer and shoe creator from Los Angeles, California. She received her BFA from the Art Institute of Chicago and is currently studying at the Fashion Institute of Technology. Actually, she just graduated. She's focusing on creating sustainable pieces with materials such as aluminum cans, bottle caps, plastic bags, belts, and many more found objects. She transforms the materials into wearable art pieces filled with lots of color and fun textures that will make heads turn when entering a room, which is exactly why I asked her to be on this podcast. Thank you, Jackie. I'm so glad that you agreed to talk to me and so fast. And I literally just found out about you. Like the day that I asked you to be on the podcast is the day I found out about you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad you found me.
me too. Me too. I have a fashion background too. I went to Pratt for my degree in fashion design. It
Oh,
was a long
cool.
time ago in a galaxy far away, and I haven't been in the fashion industry in a really, really long time.
Mhm.
And nor did I ever make creations like you did. I just, my trajectory was, oh, great, art school, art school. Oops, mass market.
There's a path for everybody, right?
Yes,
And I think art is very, there's many directions people go in. So I think everything anyone does is very admirable,
yes,
especially when studying fashion or art in general.
yeah.
So
And everything works out for a reason. I'm quite happy to be the artist that I am now, even if my fashion career didn't quite turn out how I had envisioned it way back when.
yeah, I mean, I just a small story. I didn't even actually know I was really into art until I was around like 20 years old. So
Oh, really?
yeah, um yeah, my kind of a fun story. My mom actually convinced me. I was in business school studying IR and I was just having a lot of like it wasn't my favorite and she really convinced me to drop out and go to art school. And she's like, "I
Oh,
think you're really talented. You should just like drop out." I'm like, "Mom, that's crazy. Like why would you tell me to like drop out? Like that's." She's like, "No, no." And she's like, "No, no, no. I actually think like this would be a good path for you." And I'm like, that is crazy. I'm in my first like year of school and like I'm like I think, I can do business and that's something I can achieve in my life. But she's like, "No, no, I think you should follow your dreams." And just
that's amazing. And you didn't even know you had those dreams.
no, because I was really into sports and like band and stuff growing up. So I didn't even and then the whole funny part of the story was like it was like I'll never do fashion. I'm gonna do graphic design and maybe textile art because that's what I'm interested in. And then it was COVID, and I needed some courses during the summer. And I was like, there's a fashion illustration class. I'll just take it, and maybe I'll like it. And then it's been like that ever since. And it's one of those things where it's just been like, I'm not gonna go to art school. I go to art school. I'm not gonna do fashion. I go to fashion. It's like, but I'm very grateful for all of the turns life has led me to. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I've learned is never say never. Because as soon as you say never to something, a year later you'll be like, oh, here I am.
It's truly it true life works really truly in that way. And I've been very open about just kind of like, how it goes. And I think
Yeah.
that that's helped me a lot. And my art too, really, I think it's very organic. So I think that's kind of how I actually think about my art as well. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's great. So, but you did go, I saw that you did go to an art school first.
Uh yes. Yeah. That was a great story
So
too.
wait, was that before business school or after business school?
It was after I another crazy story. So I dropped out of college because I think these are all connected and they're important.
Uh-huh.
Plus my whole career is very like wow, I'm even impressed by what has happened in the last few years of my life. And I my yeah, so my mom was like, you should just do like a portfolio review, get some advice, because I've been building some work, right? And I didn't really know what I liked because I was very experimental. I was good at really drawing and doing some fiber art, like small crocheting and knit and embroidery projects, very small, nothing super, like I was buying the the Walmart packs of embroidery and
Uh,
doing them in the car, right? Like it's nothing,
Okay.
just like small things. And so my mom was like, let's go to a portfolio review. Let's have them see your work and just see how you do. And so we drove very far away to go to this portfolio review. And my mom was like, oh, you should do like these schools. And so I got accepted on the spot at the portfolio review, which
Oh,
was,
wow.
I mean, it was so shocking. So I went to the Art Institute of Chicago and they accepted my portfolio and all I had to do was submit my grades and I was a pretty decent student. So it was kind of just like it went so naturally. I was not even going to apply till next September, but I was
Huh.
in school in December that following year in January. I was in art school.
Wow. Amazing. So, what was your concentration at the Art Institute of Chicago?
It was in graphic design, and then COVID happened, so then I went to fashion, and so I was really inspired by sustainable textiles, and so I really did a lot of incorporation of textile graphic design, but mainly I was in the fashion course at the Art Institute of Chicago, which was such a great program, and I loved it. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So, you got your BFA in fashion design then?
Yeah, and like Art Institute, it's just you all get an art degree, but yes,
Oh,
my focus was on fashion. So I
uh-huh.
would say I had I guess you say your focus is fashion, but I got an MA in art,
Okay.
yeah, bachelor's in art. So
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. And what made you focus on repurposed? Like how did that happen?
It was my second, oh no, it was my first art class, which this was fresh out. Actually, maybe you saw pictures online. Some people, this garment's those one that's kind of in the wind because I did it. My family lives in Portland, Oregon, and so it was I had to take it apart because I couldn't carry it with me when I moved to other places. So I don't. But you might have seen pictures. Anyway, I was in a textile class and they were teaching us repurposing of materials to do
Oh,
like basket weaving and I was just in a general textile class, and so I was really inspired by weaving and coiling, I think is the word for it. And I created a whole coiled dress with plastic bags. So I think I had like 200 plastic bags, and I hand coiled them with knits, and then I made them into this gigantic sculptural piece.
oh my gosh. No, I guess I didn't go far
Oh,
down in your
no, it's
Instagram. I'll
I'll
have
find
to
a
look.
picture. It's honestly like I
I saw
remember
your
old.
I think they were crochet or they were macrame
Oh yeah,
bags. I saw those.
this is like years before that. It
Oh
was
wow.
these are old. Like this one out here I have pictures. I even just it looks like this.
Oh yes, I did see pictures of it. I think I just didn't understand what I was looking at.
Yeah, no, I it was very avant-garde and abstract. I was just kind of learning, but it was all recycled plastic bags that are
Oh,
hand coiled with knits, and then I kind of coiled them all together to make this abstract.
oh my
That was
God.
that was my first garment for school, which was kind of crazy. So that was like one of my big dives, and then my teacher, who she really helped me a lot in that time, she was like, she believed in me, which I really appreciate because I was like, and she was like, no, you're amazing, keep going. And so she helped me, introduce me to photography classes, which is why my photos, are where they are today because
Yeah,
she
they
was
look
like,
phenomenal.
the photos are really important to you. And like I went and I took some professional photography classes with some amazing photographers that I still know to this day.
Oh
She
wait, so you take your own photographs?
Oh no, no, I
Oh,
learned the concepts of it, so I was
uh-huh.
able to communicate with photographers better, which I met a
Gotcha.
lot of my other
Yes.
photographers. And no, I'm not that good. I'm not that good at taking pictures. It's a whole skill, lighting,
Oh
like
yeah, absolutely.
it is so hard, and I'm lucky to have some amazing photographers that I've gotten to work with. But so anyway, the teacher who I worked with, she actually was in a sustainable textile. She did a sustainable textile course, and so she was
Huh?
like, "You should take it because," and I loved it, and that's where all the actually that was where my bottle caps and my cha can sequin techniques came from. Was that class?
Huh.
Still use them for 5 years now. So
Uh-huh.
that was a crazy experimental class that actually shaped my whole art career, which
That
was really
sounds
cool.
like such a fun class. I would love to take it right now.
It was so good. She actually doesn't even work there anymore. She's an art director, last that I heard, but it was a great class and it really helped me shape my ideas of innovation in design because, but also I forgot this is a little note of the story is I actually was really bad at sewing. And I
Oh,
was like, I'm not going to sew at all. It's too expensive. And so I refused. And so the first like 3 years, I didn't sew at all. And so it was just like everybody was like, Jackie, you can just use the sewing machine. I'm like, no, I just will hand stitch the whole thing. And it was so I was a little rebellious, I guess, with using fabric, but even just like, what can I do that's not fabric related? I mean, you can see where I came up with. So yeah.
wow. Well, you certainly have, yeah, it's fine. You don't need to sew what you're doing. Who needs a sewing machine?
I don't even think I think I used my grandma's for like whenever, but I very rarely sewed. So even to this day, I don't really try to sew very much either. I can. I have very like much better skills now, but
Mhm.
I don't know, it's not my preference, I
Right.
guess.
Well,
Yeah.
you do so much crochet and knitting and I don't even know what else what other techniques you use. But I saw your in your Instagram, I saw you stitching on sequins and things like that. So you do a lot of handwork and that you're really comfortable doing. It's the
Yeah,
when it comes to the machine is what you're rebelling against, I guess.
like I can do it, but I love repetitive tasks, and so I love hand embroidering. I love like those are all some of my huge like they're just something I love. Like I love embroidery. I love doing gigantic embroidery like projects and things. It's always been what I've drawn to in my creative fields and also crochet. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, it's
That's
great.
very cool. You started with plastic bags because it was just intriguing, or did you have any idea about, oh, I'll just say it, how bad plastic is for the environment?
Oh yeah, no, it is. It was all upcycled, like from neighbors and friends. So I was very against buying plastic bags. Like that was not the purpose. But honestly, I just was very I would say in the beginning of my art career, I was just exceedingly experimental, and I had no concept of anything in fashion or design at all.
Mhm.
Didn't even have never even like was I just was so like oblivious, I guess is probably the right word, that I was just so like. I'm just gonna do anything and it's gonna go and it's gonna be fine. And so I think like now I'm much more educated, right? And I think it is like a terrible material and I think like plastic in general is very questionable. I think what I like to do though is that like, you know, one of a lot of those pieces actually like my friend worked at a food pantry and they got all those plastic bags and she donates them and so a lot
Oh
of my
wow.
work is coming with just communal like donations because I think that you know unfortunately it is a really negative product but it's already there and it's either going to go somewhere it's not supposed to or it can be made into art and that is I think kind of my direction and how I kind of inspire others to be like, Jackie, I've brought you 15 cans this week, and they're so excited because then they see my pieces and they're like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, like I contributed to like a sustainable textile work and
Right.
it's always brought people so much joy because they'll even look at my can pieces and be like, I drank that or like I gave you that. And so like I think like that's kind of where my transformation of my materials has always been inspired by because
Hmm.
we don't need to make more or take from more new things. There are so many things already available that are
Absolutely.
like totally like on the ground, right? And
Yeah.
or just in our house, right? And that was where I was. I was in COVID. I was stuck in my house. I had very little access to things just in general because,
Hmm.
everything was closed or whatever. And so for me, I was just like, what can I use that's like right here that I can transform? And so that's where a lot of my sustainable textiles and practices had come from, which I'm still like very in love with to this day. So
Oh,
I think
well,
that's what I mean.
I'm so glad to hear that. No,
Mhm.
my artwork is all made mostly from soft plastic bags and plastic packaging,
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I say is why buy fabric when
hmm
you have all this plastic and I can stitch it just like fabric. And it's a
absolutely.
transformation of a free art material.
Absolutely. And a
Yeah.
beautiful one too. And it's and I've had a lot of pushback, not in a negative way, but more like people be like, you could just go to the store, right? And just like buy fabric. And I'm like, yeah, but like and I think there's a kind of a maybe like a lock of creativity in some people. And not in a bad way. It's just they have creativity in different ways, maybe is the
Hmm.
better way. But I've always just been drawn to the idea of like challenging myself to what can I create with like this much material, right? And like how can I transform it versus being like, oh, I can just use thousands of yards of whatever fabric or something, even, and I think that that's its own beauty in itself, right?
Yeah.
But I think the whole sustainable textile world is actually like, it's incredible, and there's a lot of great work going on right now,
Yeah.
especially from a lot of people. So,
I'm glad to hear that you're saying there's a lot of great work going on. So you're now in your MFA program at FIT, right?
I just graduated, so I'm
Oh, you
actually,
just graduated. It's all done.
yeah, I'm free.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. The show was the final thing. So that's probably what you saw.
Gotcha.
And those pieces were my final thesis collection. They're
Okay.
not fully online yet because I just have had a lot of other things going on, so haven't fully had time to do them, but I'm slowly releasing them as I have time.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad you're releasing them because they're amazing and they're totally worth seeing. So, but these pieces, they're very bespoke. They're one of a kind.
Mhm,
How do you see your career unfolding from now? Like
mhm.
what do you see happening?
No, it's a good question. It's a good question. Well, I think it's complicated, right? But I think that where my art was is that it was really pushing a lot of experimental boundaries, and I've always been like that. And I've loved that part of myself. And I can make commercial art too. But I've just always I found a freedom in that art that I've created and shown people online, and the work that you've probably seen through my Instagram and TikTok and stuff. Like that's just my like that's just me being free and expressing my work and sustainable practices because I think it's important. I think once I can show people, hey, if I can make these like really extreme garments, we can do like, and that's kind of where art school has always trained us to be like, you can push yourself to be really abstract because that's kind of the hardest thing to do, right? To
Yeah.
be abstract, but then to pull back is a lot more simple. I mean, like, not, it's more complicated than that, but that's kind of always the concept that my art school and like other schools have kind of always taught people is
Hmm.
that, you know, to create avant-garde and then create a commercial parallel is very doable. Um,
Okay.
and so that's kind of my interpretation, but I see my art as just my art, and I see it as maybe in the future I'll have a more commercial. I might be working on some stuff right now for that. I'm just not done yet, but
Uh-huh.
a lot of these projects are very tedious and have been a lot by hand. And so, I'd have to kind of, look into more creative outlets to make it because the price to the ratio to price and the ratio to like availability is very complex. And I don't particularly agree that art needs to be like not what I mean by that. I mean, I guess that like I love art being accessible to
Hmm.
others, especially upcycling.
Hmm.
Because like the whole like, oh, like it's a denim upcycled thing and it's like $1,000. I don't particularly find like, there can be I truly believe maybe in myself or in the future that there could be an upcycling bridge between those that can be actually accessible
Hmm.
to people. So that's just kind of my 2 cents, I guess, if that makes
Okay.
sense. It's a little complicated, I guess.
Yeah, no, because yeah, that's exactly what I'm wondering. Those garments are absolutely gorgeous, but you can make one, maybe two of those a year. I don't know. Okay, maybe more, but still, it's, each garment like that is a labor of love and it takes a long time. So an average person is probably not going to be able to afford a garment like that,
Yeah.
even though it's upcycled and,
Mhm.
there wasn't huge material costs, but the labor costs are huge. So I just yeah, I wonder how that would translate one day into mass market, I guess.
Well, on the note of a good example, I feel I someone that I do enjoy is kind of like Coach. They've kind of come up with a very interesting parallel of using their upcycled their bags and then using the dead stock materials and creating commercial pieces to sell that
Oh.
are made of dead stock, which I find their approach very interesting because and it's a very commercial approach, which I
Mhm.
appreciate because I do understand your connection because that is a really big question in the sustainable textile communities. How do you make one of a kind garments like actually like sustainably recycled, right? And so
Right.
I do agree that it's honestly like one of the most pressing questions that I've spoken to other sustainable artists about. And
Hmm.
I think that I think there is a way. I think that it's there's a lot of necessary access to materials and different things like that, but I definitely think it's very doable eventually. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's very doable when it comes to dead stock fabrics and things like that.
Hmm.
But when you're adding, because that could be done on somewhat of a scale, you could have the same garment in several different sizes,
Yeah.
or you could have it in, if it's not all the same fabric, you could have it all in similar fabrics at least. So I
Hmm.
could see having a line and choices of sizes. But when it comes to, the sewn aluminum sequins or plastic sequins, that like takes it to a whole other realm.
Well, I that's definitely one of my goals in the future, right?
Mhm.
To create a more commercially accessible way to produce these. I think that it's been something that's been on my mind for a long time because I even injured myself doing those projects because they're super tedious. It's
Yeah,
hard. I mean, it's a lot of energy, and I really think it's a really good question to talk about because it needs to be discussed more because sustainable textiles can be commercial. They can. It's just kind of figuring out that balance
yeah,
between the labor costs because the cost of materials is quite low, right?
right.
It's just that finding that balance, I think, is really a good question, and that's where people are at currently. And I think that it's it's a good question.
Yeah. No, I hope that's something that is figured out because, they're talking more about it, but fashion industry creates an incredible amount of waste, and it has for decades.
Mhm. And it's terrible, right? And
Yeah,
it's like there's so many examples. I've done a lot of numerous research about of course, I'm gonna blank on all of it right now, but
that's okay.
I've done a lot of, I did a lot of paper, I've done a whole paper and on a lot of these sustainable textile resources and the waste that, the fashion industry creates. Like it's so extreme. And I think that, um, it's, I think like, well, where I guess I'll talk about is, or what I'll speak about is that I think the push towards sustainable textiles and upcycling and thrifting has pushed it more into people's perspective, but
Yeah.
I think that it's not there yet. I
Hmm.
think, with the younger generation and things, it's become very trending, and I think that that's also very impactful. But I
Yeah.
think that we need to, push it through more. But it is doing like, with the rise of even upcycling, like artists online, I think that it has actually kind of started circulating more talk, but I think that, definitely on a commercial level, it can be, kind of seen through a little bit more
Yeah.
currently. So,
I hope so. I've been out of the fashion industry for so long that I'm sure it doesn't quite work the same way it did when I was there.
it's such a fast-changing industry.
Absolutely.
There's always stuff going on, but I do know there's a lot of innovation and progression, but I mean, sometimes it shouldn't be that big of a change, right? Like it should
You would
be
think, but it's
cautious, right?
such a huge industry.
Oh
Like
yeah.
when I was, I guess towards the end of I think I spent about a decade in the fashion industry, and towards the end of it, I remember my friend and I were thinking that we would love to do a sustainable fashion line. Um, but really, the only things that were available were just the beginnings of organic cottons and organic wools and that kind of stuff, which were super, super duper expensive.
Mhm.
We never fully dove into doing it, obviously, because here I am, having not done it. But I remember having those conversations. But even then, the conversation was not about dead stock fabrics or anything other than just organic fabrics. So I'm glad to see that it has progressed from that.
Well, on that note, though, you bring up a really important part because the kind of we talk, I have a lot of friends who are upcoming designers, right? I've been to many schools and we talk about production and just the general difficulties of even becoming an upcoming designer
Mhm.
and kind of having access to production costs and needs, right? Because I've had many friends in the show even, struggle with just finding affordable ways to get fabrics or even to sample makers or other things. And it's
Mm.
I think having access in New York was really helpful compared to like other places. I mean, Chicago was a much smaller community, but even in New York, for just an example, where it's a huge, one of the biggest in the US, right?
Right.
And people struggled and they had a really hard time, accessing the correct materials that weren't like a bazillion dollars, right? And
Mhm.
it was a big topic in our class, kind of communicating like the difficulties of just, starting to be an upcoming artist, right? And creating a brand and things like that. And I think there's been a lot of even classmates I've knew that wanted to start bridging that gap more and making it accessible for upcoming people. I think because a lot of people have great ideas. And so I think that that bridge is quite, complex in the
Yeah.
industry right now.
Yeah. No, of course it is.
Hmm.
Well, hopefully there'll be a way to figure that out. I mean, there
Yeah.
must be, right? There has to be.
Oh, there's a way to make everything happen, but sometimes it just takes a handful of time, and that
Yes.
is hard. That sucks.
Yes.
Terrible.
We want it now.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. So who are you inspired by or influenced by these days for like are there fashion designers or artists who inspire you?
That's a great question. I'm a little chaotic. I'm just gonna be a little honest. Um, I actually have met a friend, and I feel like you'd really like her work. And she is in Scotland, and she takes plastic bottle caps from different places, and she has a community center where she teaches kids how to upcycle them into tables and sequins and other things, and has
Oh,
created thousands of murals, communal murals out of upcycled bottle caps and has created sustainable art sculptures, and the community has contributed with her.
oh wow.
And so I truly find that really amazing. I even got to go see her place, and she taught me how to make her materials, and
Oh, cool.
it was just such an amazing experience. And that was someone that I found very inspiring. It's called the Plastic Shed. It's very
Yeah,
cool.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about
Yeah,
that. So you
yeah.
got to go to the UK to play in the plastic shed.
Yeah, well, my sister lives there, so I was visiting
Okay.
her, and so it was perfect. So we were like, "Oh my gosh, we can meet and converse." And her work has been truly inspiring, especially for the community that she's worked for. And I think that that is like somebody who I'm really inspired by, as she's pushed for, a huge community of like upcycling and things. And I
Mhm.
think that was a really successful one too, because
Oh,
she's
that's
doing more things
wonderful.
now too. Um, and I think there's been like, oh, I have to think about it. Who's like the designer I'm inspired by?
It's okay.
Um,
Take your time.
oh, I guess a big one, like I did a research project on them, was Paco Rabanne. I really
Mm,
love chainmail, and I've always been inspired by his upcycling collection from the 1960s. I did a whole research project on that, and actually the garment, it was not even it was for something else, but you know that pink ombre one? It's
yeah.
like, yeah, that one was for that
That with
project.
the plastic circles?
Yes. Yeah, it was actually Shrinky
Gorgeous.
Dinks. I
They were,
made
they were
Shrinky
what?
Shrinky Dinks, that paper that you
Oh,
as a kid. I needed a material that looked like, and so that wasn't really an upcycling project, but I needed something for that class, and so that was how that garment turned out. But it was so beautiful, everyone was in love with it, that I just had to put it out there because I just thought it was such a beautiful piece. That I honestly probably one of my favorites. I have a
mhm.
lot of favorites though, so I can't really say anything. But
They're all your children. I understand.
yeah, it's like picking a child. I'm like, I could never. I love them all. They've all had different parts of me, right? And so that one though was like I only had 3 days. Actually, some of the most extreme. I can't even tell you about these projects that I've done. I think I did that whole thing in 3 days.
Oh
That was
my God. Wait, so you cut all of those circles out of the clear plastic,
yeah,
you colored them,
yeah.
then you
Baked
baked
them.
them or whatever, and then you assembled them into
Yep.
that dress in 3 days?
I assembled the whole thing. My mom actually helped me do a lot of the cutting and coloring. So, but I colored most of them. I think she mostly, I baked all of them. So she helped me hole punch them all out for me. So she kind of was helping me because honestly, my family members are my biggest help. They're my biggest support system.
That's
Honestly, I couldn't
wonderful.
have done anything without my family, and honestly, just my friends. And like, I have owe so much to so many friends that they've supported me so much, which I'm
And your pets too.
yes, and my pets. I love my pets. And so,
Your pets
but
are good helpers.
oh, they are. They're like, pet me. And I'm like, I'm stressed out. She's like, love me. No, it's good. It's good balance. But no, so that was but I've done some crazy time constricted projects. I'm I'm considered really crazy because I've done so many crazy projects in such a fast time. It's pretty intense. Yeah.
Perhaps you don't you function well on little sleep, I guess.
I make it work. That's what I tell people. The one that was a really big one that I've done was you probably saw like a Lego outfit.
Uh-huh.
And I did that probably in 4 days. I did the entire thing. I said to my teacher, sorry, I have to make a garment for Teen Vogue. And then I just left. That was literally
Wow.
what they said. And they're like, sure, have fun. I'm like, and we shot the whole thing in those 4 days. So that was kind of, yeah, that was a lovely opportunity then too. So,
Wow, that's crazy. So you've done some collaborations I saw with like fashion brands. Is that what
uh,
you were?
yeah, I've done a handful of collaborations and honestly I just worked with a lot of the community or upcycling people or not upcycling, just the community in general.
Hmm.
Because in Chicago I worked with a lot of upcoming artists and designers just in general and modeling groups and things. So a lot of it was just community encouraged activities or like that means nothing. I'm sorry. Community like shows and things like that. So
Uh-huh.
that's kind of where a lot of my things have come from, I guess. But I've done a lot of collaborations with like some artists and some musicians and things like that, and I've enjoyed a lot of them, so it's been really cool.
No, it's always fun to collaborate. It's yeah.
Yeah.
And so tell me more about the community project. Is it more about you sourcing the materials, or are they actually helping you process the materials?
I would say it's mostly sourcing because
Hmm.
I guess like my time limits are sometimes a little crazy that it's hard to just get people to come, but I would say mostly my family's my support in helping produce a lot of things, but majority of the things I actually do by myself. Which
Wow.
is kind of insane. But some of the projects that you saw at the top of the page, because the time constraints, and I was also injured for half this year. So
Oh
half my
no.
thesis was actually, not half my thesis, but my grandma and my aunt were helping crochet a lot of the pieces, but I had a nerve injury in my neck and
Oh
spine.
no.
And so I couldn't really actually even look down or do anything.
Oh,
So it was a very stressful time right as my thesis was ending.
of course.
And so I had a lot of support from my family, which means a lot to me.
Right.
So, but also I honestly don't, yeah, that's kind of who I usually would call to ask
Right.
for help because they've helped me before. So,
Right.
they're pretty consistent, I
Yeah.
think.
No, that's family. That's wonderful that you have a family you can count on to help you with these things.
Oh yeah.
That's wonderful. Wow. So tell me, how did you discover aluminum cans? I've never seen such beautiful sequins out of aluminum cans.
Thank you. So I actually did the paillette, the bigger version, as a experimental textile in that class years ago, because I saw a technique, because I was into knit, right? I majority of my career was in knits until maybe like the last like 2 years. I mean, I only have a 5-year career. It's not even that long, so I can't even say it's that long. I would say I mostly am knit inspired. My grandma was also a big crocheter and knitter. She knits these beautiful baby sweaters and blankets. So she
Mhm.
taught me. And so that was kind of where a lot of my textile was inspired. But
Okay.
when I was at home and it was COVID, I refused to buy anything. A lot of this was just because I refused to buy things, which is great.
Girl
Um,
after my own heart.
yeah, I was like, nope, I'm not buying fabric. That's such a waste of my time. I was embroidering on leaves and twigs from outside, and I was doing other experimental things with plastic. But I remember with plastic from like my house, like the
Mm.
water bottles or whatever. But I was going, and my dad likes Coke Zero, and he was drinking, Coke Zero, and he would have this huge bag of cans in the garage, and he would kind of give them away like a human-sized bag, like it was huge. And so we had this huge bag in my garage, and I remember being like, and I saw this, it's like knitting with scales technique, and I was really inspired by the technique. It's just really knitting with sequins. Like you've probably seen the little technique of knitting with sequins and incorporating them into your.
Yes.
So it's just that technique, but instead I was like, oh, what if I just make my own sequins, right? Because
Ah,
that's kind of where my whole inspo has come from, is making my
uh-huh.
own sequins because I love sequins and I love sparkles. So I was like, oh, I'll just make my own sequins at home out of cans. And that was, I wish it was like, that was kind of the innovation or the idea, and I made a skirt.
Uh-huh.
I made a like a little thing, and then I just made a skirt, and that was kind of how it started. I just kept making different projects with that textile. And the soda tabs were also at the same time. Soda bottle caps was
Yes, yeah.
that time too. So that was kind of how it worked out. Um,
Very cool. Very cool. So, do you have any favorite techniques for your garments?
Yeah, I love the sequin technique. I'm a huge fan. That was the most recent innovation. I think it's been an innovation, and I love that. I love like that idea of using that same material and kind of innovating it. But
Hmm.
that one's probably one of my favorite renditions, I guess, of my aluminum can work, because I've done like other sequin techniques, but this one is probably my favorite because of how usable it is, I would say.
Yeah. No, it's gorgeous. Looking at it, I would have never known that it was made from aluminum cans. So they're like long slivers, right?
Yeah, they're I guess they're called
Is it
the word like
paillettes or
rolled
something like that?
rolled sequins.
Oh.
I don't know the specific term. But it's just like a rolled sequin. Oh, it's a bead, not a bead sequin, but it's a rolled sequin, like a thin roll, a cylinder sequence.
Oh, so they're not, oh, I thought they were flat rectangles, long rectangles.
Oh no, they're rolled.
Oh, wow.
So each one was hand rolled by hand.
Oh my God.
No, that's why it's crazy. It's a
That's
crazy
even
technique.
crazier.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. No, it's awful. No, it's great. I love that technique. Actually, a teacher, because I was experimenting with different shapes, she's like, you should experiment because you've done the paillettes, those big ones, right? The
Mhm.
scale, the dragon scale one. People call it. They call it like a scale. Look, and she's like, why don't you like experiment with other like sequin types because you definitely can. And I was like, oh, you're right. I should like do it. And so finally, when I went to FIT, I took the time to figure it out, and so I made a bag out of just for fun. And I kind of like really liked the technique. I thought it was the most commercial version of my sequence that I've created. And I had I had some different samples that I made of this dress, and so I kind of came into a rhythm. But yeah, and then I hand rolled like a majority of them.
So how do you hand roll a piece of aluminum into a sequin? I mean, just
Pliers.
pliers. And do you have like a metal rod you roll it around or something?
Nope, just pliers.
Just pliers.
Yep. It's honestly, I sprained my wrist doing it.
Yeah.
It was really painful because I did so many a day. Like I was doing like 500 a day.
Oh my
I
God.
would sit in class and do them because I'm not someone who ever sits in class. So I kind of got my teachers and everybody used to me just like doing something. So I'd be crocheting, embroidering, making sequins. Like I would be doing something and people would laugh because everyone would watch me doodle, right? Like they knew that it's just how I listen, right? And that was even how my whole art career started was by like I would just draw while I was listening to the teachers.
Right.
It's
Oh,
like,
that makes
oh, that's
sense though.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So
We
that's
all
yeah.
process things in different ways. That was I was always a doodler, so I needed to be doing something with my hands in order to really absorb the information.
Did you have a favorite doodle style?
I did. I have like a couple of little ways I doodle all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I have
Yeah.
like a set of like 4 or 5, so I'll pick which one I feel like that day, and I'll start.
Yeah.
Depends on how happy or something I am, but I'm pretty happy most of the time, so I would just pick whatever I felt like
Right.
doing.
That's great. Wow. Wow. All right. So I did ask you what you thought your future was, but like do you have your next job? You just graduated. Did you?
Yeah, I'm actually I just started work last week, so I've just started my job, so I've been running around a little bit, but I work for Ralph Lauren right now.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I work in their fashion production for luxury. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's great. I'm very content to be there.
That's
Um
great. Are they
yeah.
interested in upcycling?
They have an innovation department. They do work on innovation textiles. Like I haven't seen it because I just started, but I did talk to somebody and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we have an innovation textile department. You should go walk through there one day." So I
Oh,
might
good.
happen to go walk through because I'm on the design floor. So
Uh-huh.
cool. So
All right. Well, we'll need an update when you get there.
that'd be cool.
Oh, that's
But
exciting.
yeah, no. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm gonna continue creating things. I find it just kind of part of my life, my daily life even. So
Yeah.
it's just something that is really important to me. So I'll continue creating just naturally and organically.
Hmm.
Probably not as fast. I've hurt myself really badly this
Right.
year.
You can slow down now.
Yeah, like I don't need to do anything in 3 days anymore. So that's kind of the goal. And
Hmm.
I know that's like a more slow fashion approach, but I think that I need that. And I think that it's honestly okay to do that because I think that
Yeah.
even in the fashion world, they're like, you gotta go, 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 go. It's like, um, I've done that for
Yeah.
5 years. I'm a little tired. I think people would laugh if they saw me say I'm tired. They'd be like, Jackie's never, she's crazy running around in a good way. But like,
Yeah.
I think it's time to just kind of actually fully explore techniques and ideas that I actually like to do. Because like that
Mhm.
big dress is something I've always wanted to do, but it takes a lot of time and hours
Yeah.
to create something that hard. And I love hard projects. So I'd rather take the time to do a hard project than do something quick and not
Hmm.
as interesting. So
Very cool. Do you have any interest in costume design?
that's a good question. No, actually I did. I worked with the costume designer for she's a great friend of mine and she made some amazing costumes. So actually on the note of that, you know the belt pants, maybe if you saw
Yeah.
them, that was a costume. And
Oh,
it was
okay.
actually meant for a play, and the play had some, didn't work out, but it was actually a costume. And so that's always my fun. It was inspired by The Tooth of Crime, that play. And so it's that those outfits actually were inspired by that play to
Hmm.
create pieces. And so that was her like inspiration and everything to create these belt pants. And so I just made them for her. But I have some currently, but she's like we share them. But it's very
Okay.
cool. So yeah, no, it's I've done a lot of costume and I love costumes and I love like arts and theater and things like that. I
Hmm.
think it's very cool. But maybe one day. Just
Yeah,
kind of I kind of I've decided life should let me go where it wants and I just kind of go with it.
absolutely. But with your skills, I could totally see you working in a, like a Broadway costume shop and making very specific garments for some amazing show.
High praise. Thank you. That would be so amazing. My sister is a makeup artist, and so we're like huge fans of like the theater and the costumes that people make. It's beautiful and like even just like I'm close and I've seen like Wicked and things like that and
Hmm.
just amazing. They're so
Yeah,
beautiful. So
they are.
and they're one of a kind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're not one of a kind.
Sometimes
You
they
have
are.
to have five each of one of a kind, or
That's true.
depending on the show, but yeah.
Well, actually, my one of my friends was neighbors with the original creator of the costumes for Wicked like years ago, and
Oh,
I
wow.
like he was telling me all about it, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
I have to meet her one day. Just say I'm
No,
a
that's
fan.
great. I worked at a costume shop way back when and helped cut some costumes for Chicago. So
That's
that was my claim to fame. It's really exciting.
no, that's amazing. That's so cool. It's hey, costumes are hard.
Oh my
It's a
God,
whole art.
yeah.
It's a whole art, and it's very different than commercial, and it's
Yes,
beautiful,
yes,
huge, yeah, amazing, really. So.
yeah. So you have many paths ahead of you. That's very, very exciting. So,
You never know where life's gonna take you next, and that's
no.
that's the joy of it, right? So,
So you're planning to stay in New York though?
for now, yeah. Um, I'm enjoying the East Coast. I think it's really lovely, and I'm really happy with where I am, and so yeah, probably for now. You never know, but
Good.
yeah, for now I will be here.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a serious question.
Okay. All right.
Um, so in our current climate, I'm sure you have heard all the climate catastrophes that are happening, and we're basically in a climate crisis. What do you think is an artist's or a fashion designer's or a costume designer's role during this time?
That's a great question. I appreciate your question for this because actually, so last year I was actually a part of the climate activists event in New York. It was in
Oh,
Brooklyn and it's a free event for the community to come and like learn about climate change and the other different things that contribute to that, and also sustainable fashion and the practices that are related to that.
hmm.
So I think that, um, I think that it's very serious. And I think that it's a really big issue that people are kind of avoiding and looking away from. But I
Mhm.
think it's really important now more than ever to, be conscious of our choices in life, but also, contribute to helping the earth because the earth does so much for us and we need to get back to it. And that's probably what I will say because, I think the earth is so beautiful and it is such a beautiful place. And I am so happy that I get to be here and appreciate the
Yeah,
world. And I think that we need to think like that, right? And we need to take care of the earth. And I think that artists and designers, we need to be conscious of it. We need to be aware of the choices because, fashion damages the earth a lot.
yeah.
And I've watched documentaries and read a lot of, papers on
Hmm.
the impacts of fashion. And I think that um, it's real and it's really important for us to be educated and aware that fashion has destroyed a lot of the earth. But there are ways to, be innovative around that, right? We
Absolutely.
just need to be creative. And that's really what people need right now is creativity in general, because that's what humans are really good at is being creative. Like I know a lot of people who would be like, "Oh, I'm not creative." We're all creative if we need to be,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that's my take on that.
I love that. I
Thank you.
wholeheartedly agree. Creativity will save us. And one of the things I think about is the fact that, the Earth is the best planet. We don't know of any other ones, right?
Mhm.
That could compare.
Mhm.
Um, so we need to keep it in good stead for us because, nature evolves. If we all die off, the planet will still be here,
Mhm.
evolved in a new way. So we really need to save it for us
Absolutely.
so that we can
Yeah,
survive.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
It's
I,
important.
I completely agree with you about creativity. Yeah. I think creativity will save us all, and we all have it. We just need to exercise it.
Yeah, I think even to kind of contribute to that, like my really close friend is from India and I love her because she, how was I going to go about this? Because I had a good thing to say. But I think like, oh, this is a very small thing, but it'll make sense. So she was telling me how, like I just love her because she's amazing. But she would take her old shirts and she would use them when she would paint, right? She would take her old shirts and use them as rags. She would do all these things, and that's such a small thing
Hmm.
that everybody can do, right? It's like not just throw your shirt away, but to give it new life.
Yep.
As to dab your paintbrushes, to clean the floor, right? As a rag. And it's such a small thing,
Hmm.
I mean, like, I remember her seeing that and being like, you know what, you're so right, right? Like, and like, I mean, I would use them for fabric or like whatever, upcycling,
Right.
right? And I think what happens for a lot of people is like, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's too big of a problem that I can't contribute at all. But my friend used her shirts as rags and, didn't buy a towel or
Yeah.
like, right? And it was such a small thing and you could just put it in the washing machine and then it's, you have a new rag again, right? And it's,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that we can all do.
Yeah.
There's so
No,
many small things that we can do.
absolutely. And if we're all doing small things, it all adds up.
hmm And and so I think that's where my hope comes from, right? Is that, my work even also is like, yeah, my work is really extreme sometimes. Like people would be like, "Oh my gosh, like, I can't make things like that," right? Or whatever, right? But it's like, "Oh my gosh, I can think differently," right?
Hmm.
We can do it. If I can make cans out of sequins and hand roll stuff, it's possible. And I
Yeah.
think that's where my work is right now, and I want people to know that, you can unravel your sweaters and make something new again, right? Like it's those small things, right? But
Hmm.
then somebody at home could be like, you know what, I don't wear this sweater, and then they unravel it and they make it into a new shirt or give it to a friend,
That's
right? It's
right.
like that is something people can do. Or they can
Absolutely.
donate their cans to me, right? Like, it's it's terrible, but like, but it makes them feel like they're doing something. And
It's true.
helps all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much, Jackie. This
Thank
was such
you.
a fun conversation.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I love talking to you. It's some amazing questions. So,
Oh, good.
yeah.
Good. Oh, thank you. That was such a fun conversation. I'm so glad I got to talk to Jackie. at the beginning of her career. I can see some really amazing things happening for her in the future. I cannot wait to see how her career develops. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, click the little follow button, and share this podcast with everyone that you can think of. I really, really deeply appreciate that. This podcast was created, produced, and edited by me, Natalia Korover. Theme music by R.C. Gaida. To find out more about me, go to artbynatalia.com. To find out about my community, go to repurposercollective.com. And to learn with me, check out all my offerings at ecoloop.art. Thank you for listening.